Hello and welcome to the QT Respawn X Littles Valorant tournament. We are back again in round one of our competition here. So today we've got two fantastic teams here with us. What about two teams again? I forgot.
It's Apes and I believe Better Than You. Yes, Better Than You. Yeah, so they'll be going up against each other, and yeah, so it's the two of us as well as Jaws. You might recognize him from a couple of the games we played throughout this. Say hi, Jaws.
Hey, how's it going?
There he
I'm
is.
here.
Yeah. And I think, given that you've played against some of these teams, what do you reckon in terms of the skill level of Apes going up against Better?
As an
I
insider trader,
I did not get put in against either of these teams. I am the break case in need of sub.
Yeah, fair enough.
I watched while drinking
Yeah.
a couple beers the first two rounds of Better Than, and the deadlock play was on point. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, we haven't seen a lot of deadlock. I think it was only the one match that we've seen her in so far, but it'll be interesting to see what comps. I'm not sure if we know what map they're on yet. But in terms of Ascent, cool. Yeah, so probably
It's
not going to
always
see the
Ascent,
deadlock.
man.
But yeah, it really is. I mean, it's just the best map. Like it's Haven and Ascent. They're just the best two maps. But in terms of our standings, if we take a look at it, basically, so two of our teams have finished all the games, which is the Griffith and UQ teams. UQ Purple sadly is mathematically eliminated from the tournament, only getting that one win, and every other team has just enough wins to place them over that. But we do have another game coming up later, which is Apes vs Chimps, which will determine our top four teams. Currently, Griffith is sitting in there, but if Chimps do well enough, I don't believe. Sorry, they do have to win their next game, but if they do, and they do well enough, they have the potential to knock Griffith out, and then that'll be our fourth place team instead.
It's going to be a very tight game for them. There's a lot on the line for Chimps here, like a lot going into this final game for them. So that'll be a super exciting game to see. So highly recommend that everyone come in and check that game out when it does come underway. You can always, once the pressure's up higher, you can always expect a good game.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is that our last three games that we're playing of this tournament system are all played with Apes, because Apes has only done two of their matches so far. So they will be running the gauntlet, having played last night, and then they'll be playing another game on stream on Monday, another game on stream on Wednesday, and then their final game, unfortunately, won't be streamed. But they have already, I believe, locked playoffs, so they're basically just trying to see how high up in the standing they can get. If they manage to win all five of their games, they're guaranteed first place with their Swing or Be Swung loss to Chimps, I believe it was yesterday. And
My
so
bad.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, how did that game go for you, Jaws?
I had some kills than some of the Chimps players at some point, so that's worrying for them.
Because what's your peak? It's like gold or something, or gold or plat?
Oh, silver 1.
Right, of course.
Currently bronze 2.
Yeah, hey, and listen, you killed. They're all like diamond and ascendant and stuff, so that's quite impressive. But yeah, so it will be interesting coming into this lineup to see. So we managed to get a chance to look at Apes yesterday, and luckily enough, we had their team manager, which is Bob, on the cast with us, and we got to look into their very aggressive playstyle. And it'll be interesting to see how that pairs up against these other teams, because obviously Griffith, one of our slower and more methodical teams, and Swing or Be Swung was a very aggressive team. We'll be seeing that game on Wednesday, so it'll be a very interesting matchup, I think, in that case, because I think we're going to see a lot of fighting, and I think it's really going to come down to aim drills for that one. But for today, Better Than You has been playing really well as well. They're currently second place with only 1 loss and 3 wins. If they manage to secure this win, I believe they have the chance to overtake Swing or Be Swung as that second seed. And yeah, it'll really come down to, out of those two teams and Apes playing, to who can get our first seed.
And obviously, since we're going to be seeing a lot of Apes, we got to go pick everyone's going to go pick their favorite Apes player, right? We also got to pick our Apes player that we're going to bag out the most. It is tradition. We have to do it. I don't make the rules. I just amend to them. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what Apes is made of. Obviously, Apes has got 2 wins previously, and they've got no losses standing at the moment. So we might very well witness their first loss. We might very well not witness a loss at all. You never
there's definitely potential. And of course, we're completely unbiased, but Apes winning out would be pretty good. Can't lie.
It'd be pretty dope.
Yeah,
but not you guys.
Not biased at all. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, if they sub you in, I reckon you can take down the Apes players.
Oh,
they're only a little.
If they sub me in, it's grim once again. I keep asking them just like tell me exactly what to do, and then they're just like, no, we trust you. It's like, you shouldn't. I don't know what they're doing.
So do you know anything, just diving into Swiggle Swung's kind of team environment a bit, do you know much about any of their players, any of their like play styles that we can look forward to on the Wednesday?
Man, I barely know anything. I just know they're all psychopaths who will do anything. But it was a lot more coordinated than I thought. Covert was doing a very good trying to like add in some order, call some strats, figure out what they're going on.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's what we saw.
Some order in that chaos.
Yeah, and we saw that, I think, come through in that Chimps game where, I mean, even though they were playing with, I believe, 2 subs, it was yourself and someone else as well subbing in, but yeah, they went very aggressive at the start, but then you did see once they kind of locked in and stopped messing around a bit, they did have really good, especially attacking protocols to kind of get onto those sites and really secure space behind their jets. So
also, you never really expect to have like subs come in like that, and having subs come in last minute is always going to shake people. So just them being able to like bring that back and like slow it down was probably like really good on them. It also shows their values as individual players as well. Just because once you're in a situation that you're unfamiliar with, it can often be do or die for your team, whether or not you're actually able to adjust. So them finding their rhythm, even though it didn't go too well for them finding their rhythm there, it really shows to them as players. So respect to Chimps.
Yeah, and I do believe we're just waiting for one more player to join the lobby, and then we'll be able to get started. But in the meantime, I'd like to just say once again, the QT Respawn LAN event, the finals for this tournament, the tickets are available. They're free if you're a member of QT Respawn, so definitely go pick those up so you can catch whichever 2 teams make it live in the finals. And of course, shout out to Littles once again, sponsor of this event. Personal injury lawyers, no win, no fee. And yeah, just thanks for sponsoring this event and making this thing happen. And
one more thing, can we shout out that one guy who actually paid for a ticket for the LAN? Thank you for funding the club. The guild does not like us. Please give us more money.
yeah,
I believe it's grim.
Listen, do we have their name down? Can we shout them out by name?
Holy! Give me a second. I should be able to find it.
Yeah, fair enough.
We got to give credit where credit is due. We need all the money we can get.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that means as well, if you guys have Prime subs and you want to spend them on the stream, feel free to. But yeah, otherwise, I think we should only be waiting a couple more minutes for this final player to come in. But yeah,
where do I find this list?
I think we're looking to see a very interesting game, if nothing else. Obviously, last time we've seen Chimps come in, we saw like excellent gameplay from all of them. We saw excellent plays. At the start, it seemed like they were really not doing too well, at least in terms of mechanics from what we saw. That I remember that was one of the talking points we had from the previous stream that we had watched them in. But yeah, we saw at the very end of it, they really pulled up. We saw fantastic mechanics all around.
Yeah.
I'm just like really throughout all of this looking to see, whether or not they've taken, some value from their previous games. Obviously, I think, in my opinion, the more games you've played and the more games you've lost, the more information you've gathered. So I'm interested to see what they've done with that information.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the interesting thing coming into this match, having seen Apes play yesterday on Icebox, is Icebox obviously is a very kind of solved map. You saw B hits almost every round from both teams on that. So coming into Ascent, it'll be interesting to see the kind of adaptability that they can come out with, because, and just kind of what strats they can cook up. Ascent similarly quite set in terms of meta, but not set as much in terms of how you actually execute onto the sites. So definitely be interesting to see kind of what comps they're running into that one. We've seen quite a few different options. We've seen the Clove instead of the Omen. Killjoy vs Cypher is always a big debate on this map. And then usually I think we're probably going to see both teams running Jet again, but maybe one team will surprise us with like a Waylay or a Neon or something. And then probably still going to see the Sova and potentially the Breach or the KO again, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is interesting. Oh, never mind. You can go ahead.
Obviously, like the higher up we go in ranks, obviously the way more different that it played. And on a solved map like Icebox that we saw, there was a lot of complex gameplay going on throughout that game. And obviously, with them being, super high ranked players, they're going to play completely differently to to how you would in other ranks. So just like seeing how complex the gameplay was throughout all of that is really something to take away and to kind of just like pay attention to as well. So it'll be really interesting to see over this game as well, just how things play out, and what to take away from these games. Obviously, since you can take, even though it is a competition, and there's going to be a lot more communication. I think that every single game you see, there's something to take away and something to learn from as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the interesting thing seeing that icebox is I think that was a very good demonstration of how, even though it's a very simple map in terms of everyone's hitting B, they're playing in the same spot. You saw things like the shock darts and the mollies coming out to deny the wingman, and you saw a lot of iteration even on specific strats. We saw Griffith weren't able to get that plant down a lot in the default plant spot. So then I think about 5 rounds in, they decided to send the wingman plant out further onto the site, and you saw where all the Molotovs and shock darts were going missed because they had planted in a different spot and things like that. Seeing those adaptations on that very specific strategy is interesting. Whereas I think this map with Ascent will be much more on Apes and Bettr to kind of outplay each other on a much more map-wide scale, because Ascent is one of those maps where both sides are very viable to attack from, and also mid is very important, but not as important as it was on Icebox. So I think we'll see a lot more variety in strats and a lot more variety in how they're kind of attacking. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see, I think, definitely. And I think we're still just waiting for that one more player.
Yeah. It also, one thing we learned from Icebox as well is, despite how solved of a map it is, despite how, obviously, there kind of only is one correct way of playing it, we still saw we saw like quite a lot of variety in the similarities as well. Obviously, since most things would generally play out or be done the same way, there were still different outcomes. There were still different the ways that the game continued. So it'll be interesting to see how, on a map where there is more variety, just how much more uniqueness between the rounds there will be in terms of strategy and just overall gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess just while we have some extra time, Jules, how do you feel going into that casual tournament? I don't remember exactly what team you were playing on, but how did you find that event? Because I don't
that
think
was
we
a
got
good
many
time.
interviews. Yeah,
I was just I had quite a few, and I was just like, oh, yep, let's just go have some fun, try to click
yeah,
heads. I'm not expected to do much, so just try to do your job in a decent role, and then
yeah.
that's all you can hope for.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and I think it was nice having that extra just kind of casual tournament as a bit of a start to this, and let more players jump in. And if we end up running this event again next year, hopefully, or do a similar stuff with other events, I'd encourage anyone in chat. You don't have to be a very good player. In fact, you could be a couple beers in by the sounds of it, and still feel free to jump into the tournament and just have a good time. I'm not sure what our next game will be, but I believe it'll probably be something like CS or Overwatch. So
I can confirm the next line will be Overwatch.
yeah,
All
so
right. That'll be something certainly to look forward to.
We have the grand roadmap. We have the budget assigned.
Yeah, fair enough.
Thank you, the Littles. Thank you so much. We need the money.
Yeah.
We're desperate.
Yeah, so sorry, production in our ear. But yeah, so that'll be exciting as well to see the Overwatch tournament coming up. I believe that'll probably be. Do you guys have a rough date in mind for when that tournament's going to be running?
It's in the first few weeks after O Week, 3 or 4. Let all the new people come in, get used to the community, and then we try to host that first tournament around then.
Yeah, fair enough. So probably about 3-ish months away, I'd say.
Yeah, now you bring it up, it's pretty far away, but still a lot of things need to be sorted. We need to make sure we get the land rental, get all that, figure out the food situation.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think here's the real question, though. Will there be a stadium, competitive tournament?
Stadium?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that game is.
We haven't thought about that part yet. But I don't know. Maybe we could do, like, if both teams agree to a friend to play it on Stadium, they could play it on Stadium. We don't care.
Oh, you mean the map? I thought you meant a game named Stadium. I was very curious.
No.
The game mode in Overwatch.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the more important question is it going to be 6v6 or 5v5?
Oh, you know what? That's true.
That is up to Jay.
Debate.
The Overwatch man who has been stuck playing Rivals. I think they're just spamming him on Luna every game. Luna Loki, that's all he's been playing, and they've been playing it well, so props to them.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. But I think we have got everyone in the lobby now, so we should be starting in just a moment here. And yeah, I mean, I'm hyped to get into this match. Obviously, we set up the stakes before, but Apes playing the next 3 games in a row, basically. So they want to get as many wins as possible. They are already locked for playoffs, but the higher seeding they get, when we go into our playoffs, the first seed will play against the 4th seed, which is looking to either be Griffith or Chimps. So given that they've been the weaker teams in these tournaments, you obviously want to try and get that first seed, because if you can, then you're almost definitely avoiding Swing or Be Swung and Better Than You, which have been the stronger teams, and potentially Apes, depending on how the seeding plays out. So you really want to avoid playing them in your first match. But yeah, it looks like we're finally getting into Asian Select here. So immediate hovers, you're seeing Jet on both sides immediately, and we are actually seeing Cuban picking up that deadlock potentially. Might just be a hover for now. But yeah, I think Jet is just the basically standard go-to duelist on this map. You're not really going to see any other duelist. So we're likely to see that locked in.
So about the map Ascent, all right. What are the characteristics of this map? What are the sightlines of this map? How should people approach it, and what how do we expect these teams to play around this map on both attack and on defense?
Well, this map is a lot about the long sight lines for the opping. That's why Jet is the preferred character here, because of the ops. The big op from mid, controlling catwalk for tiles. Tiles from tree, those are important lines. But more recently, we've been seeing a lot of double sentinel come out in the VCT. A lot of teams are willing to take defense, let the other team pick the map, and then just rock double sentinel, normally with this deadlock. But we're seeing more deadlock vice. So sentinel is a really big role that's seeing a lot of fluctuations in the meta of Ascent now.
Yeah, and historically we've always seen Killjoy and Cypher on this map as well, so it really feels like the only map where you can pretty much run any Sentinel and be happy, and so much so that most teams are starting to run 2 Sentinels instead.
So what are we expecting from these teams, at least in terms of how will they play each round? Obviously, since you mentioned Sentinels are doing fairly well in this round, how are we expecting these teams to kind of just like manage their manage each round to try and like get that advantage with a meta weapon?
I mean, yeah, I think you're going to see definitely a heavy presence towards mid. It's one of the maps where you have those 2 massive sightlines, like Jules is saying, where realistically you've got to try and make sure you're holding cat and mid, and you can hold them from either angle, but it's always a bit of a bloodbath around there. So you're likely probably going to see a lot of focus to that side of the map. But also within the sites themselves, B site is tricky because you have to kind of get through that main choke area before you can actually get access to the site. So defenders have a lot of positions where they can hold either aggressively up early, or they can just hold on the actual site themselves, and it's basically 2 separate fights you have to take to get through that one. So that'll be interesting to see. Yep.
Obviously, like with the Senti also being meta, how are we looking to see these buys from round to round, from both like winning and maybe like losing teams as well?
The interesting thing to see here, I think, on the buys is going to be the Jets picking up the ops early. Are we going to see that? What's happening? And it's also going to be interesting to look at these comps is we see Apes on defense going for the double initiator, more looking for the early info rather than the double sentinel coming out. But it looks like
Shifty actually does manage to pick up a first kill onto Cuban, though, in that A main area. And now the rest of the team actually pushing over towards B, though. Quantum picking up the first kill onto LaFrog, and that's going to be easy access into the site here now. With, I think that was a beautiful fake sold by the Deadlock. You saw that they actually pulled a lot of their players over after getting that first kill, and now they've given free full sight over to the side of, looks like we might be resetting, actually. I think there might be some tech issues.
Yeah, looks like Better Than is a little annoyed at some of the rulings, but we'll be seeing what's happening in a second. We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So unfortunate that we had to, quickly try and restart this with a draw there. We were really just like seemed like we were getting into some plays there, but we'll run that back in a little bit, and both teams can be underway very shortly. In the meantime, is there anything that we want to mention before the game goes underway? Anything to do with...
Well, Jules, you were mentioning before the difference between the double initiator versus double sentinel. So why do you think Better Than You's gone that way and like towards that comp kind of idea?
I feel like that's just what they're comfortable with, but it leads to the interesting thing of it leads to Apes having to really use this extra info coming out from the KO knife from that recon dart to make sure they can't give these sites, because trying to walk into a double sentinel site post round going through all the deadlocked grenades, going through the sensors, the wall. It's just such a strong stall tool as an agent, so they really have to be careful in that area.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean that's probably also a product of the kind of change with Teo getting nerfs. Obviously a lot of teams got used to running that double sentinel because Teo was so strong, and so now coming into it, it's kind of weird to get your flex player to be moving away from that initiator onto sentinel, which is a very different role and a very different playstyle.
Yeah, also interesting to see double Cypher here on both teams, even though KJ ult is historically the stronger pick, and you're not really getting as much value from the Cypher as you can in the KJ, but especially with the changes to the wall and Teho being gone, means you can really get some effective ults down without being punished as hard.
Yeah, that's very true. I think the main draw for the Cypher is he's got a really solid A-hold because you can put double kill trips down where the enemy team can't break them unless they use their server darts and things like that. So I think that could potentially be the reason why. Otherwise, it might just be a comfort pick. Or perhaps they want the extra smokes that Cypher can provide. But yeah, it is definitely interesting to see both teams running it. And especially with no Deadlock or Vice coming out as well. And obviously no Killjoy either. Actually, I think there was a Killjoy, right?
No, it was Cypher
the
on both teams. Yep.
Yeah, what was the second Sentinel? Yeah, Deadlock, yeah. So no Killjoy, no Vice coming out. I believe we're getting back into the match now. I'm not sure what the problem was, but looks like we're getting back into it. So sorry for the extra
registration issue. It sounds like.
Yeah, so we will be running it back fully, I believe. I don't think so. We're basically just going to be resetting from 0-0.
I wonder if there'll be any changes to the comps.
We are seeing changes.
That short
Yeah.
phase, whether or not. Because obviously, we saw at the very beginning there was a little bit of action, so maybe there was a little bit to learn from that short interaction they've had between the two of them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on here. Describe for us what we're seeing right now.
Well, with the lock-ins coming in from Bettr then, it's very interesting to see they've quickly changed the double duelist clove setup. Taking away from the Omen, who's going to give them more ability to get onto site, and they've gone for the Waylay ISO. Less dueling potential with the op, but a much stronger initiation on the attack, easier to execute. They get into sight with the Waylay dash. Actually, it's commonly seen from G2 with the Vice as well coming in. The strong wall really stopping engages a lot stronger.
Yeah, definitely, and with how cut up that A side is, B side is especially, sorry, there's a lot of spots where you can move that wall around. A lot of bomb sites you just see kind of the main choke, and then that's really the only spot. But that B side has the entirety of lane, the A main area, stairs, market. There's so many different spots you can move that wall to, which really can throw off the attackers if they're expecting the wall in one spot and they get caught out later with it.
And also, I'd just like to point out, we have just gotten word that due to Apes not having a teammate within 30 minutes, and then getting a random player, Bettr will get a free win from this game, no matter what the outcome is. So, very unfortunate that had to happen, but it is what it is. Yeah, we can still enjoy the game, we can still enjoy the plays, but Apes will be taking this free win here. Sorry, Bettr will be getting.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Bettr. Yeah, so Bettr will go up to that. I believe 4-1 scoreline now, and that will be Apes' first loss. But we'll still play out the game anyway. May as well. We've got all the players here. So this is more of a fun match, which I think is why we're seeing that very different comp. But looks like from the side of Apes that they're actually still sticking to the same comp, which means we're probably likely going to see them just kind of use this game as practice and kind of take it as an extra scrim, essentially. Whereas it seems like Bettr's having a bit more fun with it, with the Waylay and the Clove and the ISO.
This is pretty much as close as you can get to the default standard comp nowadays for Ascent. The Cypher really came off after a lot of teams were practicing it more after the buffs, but even after the nerfs he received, he was still seeing a lot of play since of the Neon usage and him being a soft counter, so still interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And coming out into this one, early A main aggression coming out from both teams as this Jet is trying to get anything happening here, but Shifty can't manage to hit the shot. Peeks back out with the flash, but Quantum takes him down. And now able to push up onto that A main position and force that one up. But there's been a heavy mid lurk down from the rest of the side of Bettr as well. Can they force anything out here, or will they just back up after taking this pressure? Looks like Lottie actually pushing out aggressively, but Quantum picks up his second on the round. Another clean Sheriff one tap.
Yeah, it's always just good to have clean aim in these situations. He hasn't even popped the double tap yet. Really can still go and get aggressive with this ISO shield.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful good decay coming out onto Bambi, but he still manages to pick up the first headshot and dodge the shock dart as well. Good movement there to manage to sidestep that one. Swings out with the recon dart, but Sidlikid able to take him down before he causes too many problems. Quantum taking heavy damage from that shock dart, but still up for now. He's got another shock dart ready though. Can that hit one hit? It does not, and it's very low and a very close 1v1, but Corpsey able to re-stabilize the aim, take that one down, and now he has a Sheriff, but the bomb has gone down onto B, and Tor able to pick up a beautiful backstab onto 2.
Yeah, really interesting round coming out there. We came up and we saw Bettr just take a lot of mid control, and that really helped them out and was able to give them a lot, as we saw 3 getting really aggressive on B from Apes.
So
yeah,
what
definitely.
do we think that Apes could have done there to try and improve that situation?
They just need to have somebody playing mid or some form of control there. They just had no information, and then suddenly there was 3 up, and they just lost the entire site for free.
Yeah, pretty much. And jumping into this next round, we might see the same kind of repeat with Quantum and Shifty both going aggressive into this A main area. Looks like for now, though, Bettr just holding back, looking to try and make something happen with a push coming out from their side of the defenders, but so far they haven't fallen for the bait.
Yeah, we're seeing the Outlaw coming out on this Waylay, though. Interesting pick. Normally you'd want this more on the ISO who can take a shot and then just be calm with his aim, rather than the Waylay who you really want just diving in, taking that first initiation, which you don't really want an Outlaw for. But it is extremely strong in these rounds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's usually a one-shot body shot since no one has any armor on the side of Apes, but immediately Saya able to take one back onto LaFrog, and now a heavy A main push with Sid pushing out onto Catwalk and taking that kill as well. And this is immediately looking very rough for the side of Apes. They're going to have to just try and make something happen with these classics. You ideally want to just pick off at least 2 players, but I'm not sure they're going to really be able to find much with such a man disadvantage coming into this one.
It's going to be a big off if this Omen Lord can get value up Catwalk. Since they've already conceded the site, they're going to need this Omen to be big, but it might be too late with the door being closed, site taken. It's going to be hard to get this one back.
Yeah, definitely. And now we see, looks like a wrap into Heaven from at least 2 of the players. We'll see if the Cypher joins them as well. It might be kind of a waterfall out of Heaven kind of, strategy, or they might just look to contain these players and dive the spike, which is a pretty common pistol strat. You don't want to give over that extra money and ult orbs to the attackers in this situation.
We're seeing Apes down 2 here. How should they approach this? No,
well, next round they'll have guns and it'll be a lot easier, but I think in general they've just been losing a lot of these early gunfights, which costs them a lot of map control.
Yeah, they're just not quite prepared for the fights. Realistically, they should just be trying to die here to the spike, making sure they can get that extra ult orb and money from it, or trying to get one on their way out, as we'll see here from the Cypher.
Yeah, we saw ships passing in the night from Corpsey and Quantum there, just both passing right by each other through that smoke. Manages to die to the spike, but definitely a rough eco round there, only picking up, I think, a little bit of damage onto 1 or 2 of the players, but nothing significant enough to really hurt their buy coming into this one.
Unfortunately, that also leaves them down 2-0 to Better Than You at the moment. So really just a rough beginning here for them. You know, what should they be looking at trying to address here, just to try and even up the gaps here and just not give Better Than You any more chance to move ahead?
Well, they need mid-control this round, but it's really hard because right now 4 of the members of Respawn are just going to be walking into a 2-shot operator coming out from this Waylay, which just makes it so hard to play, as we see heavy aggression coming in for B main control.
Yeah, it looks like they're just pushing this one out. It's going to take an early fight. The flashbang is really good there. Shifty able to take down 1 onto Sire, but Sidlikid looking to trade back, does with that Outlaw. Enough damage having gone down, but that KO nade able to force him into a different corner there. Nothing to capitalize, though, means it will just be the 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, but this is really good from Respawn. Still maintaining all of this B main control, the 1-for-1 trade. And we have
it looks like another pop flash coming out, trying to force that one back, but Cuban able to take down Lottie, and now LaFrog left in a very rough position. Decayed down to 30 HP, but the shotgun misses. Shorty unable to ring true, and another kill picked up. Means it's now down to only 2, with 3 Apes players remaining, and they're both very spread out. 1 A main, 1 in mid, and Cuban has to push up here. He's going to get caught out, but looks like they're able to make moves, but they're not playing together, which might be very rough for them.
Cuban's trying to find something more here, but he could have a massive timing as he's walking onto an open B site.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tor not seeing the player coming, hiding in Sabrosa means that he will go down, and now just 1 player left. Cuban able to plant down the bomb, but We'll have to see if he can make anything happen here with the Silver Drone tag coming out. They know exactly where he is, and they're going to push out. Beautiful shot, though. Able to take down the first one, but Cuban now has 2 more to find. Can he find them in market? They both swing him together, almost isolating that 1v1, but then be able to take him down with the superior weapon. A rough round, though, coming out of Apes.
Really unfortunate for Cuban there. It really seemed like he was playing super well at the end there, especially with his aim. It seemed like it was really lined up there, just unfortunately missed the shots there.
Yeah, really good to see Respawn there, not making sure not to give 3 1v1s in a row, getting their KO and Cypher to join up and make sure they can fight that 2v1, make sure they don't accidentally throw a 1v3.
Yeah, definitely. But you saw 3 players going down from the side of Apes there. That will realistically hurt their buy coming into this one. You ideally want to try and keep all of those players alive, but unfortunately just not able to in that situation, which I think is going to make this next round a bit more challenging.
What did better than you do wrong in that round just then? Obviously, they got picked off really early. Where did it go wrong?
They just seemed very indecisive there. They didn't really feel like pushing anything even after they saw contact. They just didn't take any major areas of space and they slowly bled out picks over the round.
Yeah, and we see the same thing happening here, but they managed to pick up the first kill this time, and then the ISO comes out. He's going to take the 1v1 there, unable to take it down though, and Shifty with a beautiful 2k with the Guardian, able to pick them down to 2 players left in a 4v2, and this is looking a lot better from Apes here. We'll have to see if Shifty can make anything else happen though, as he's going aggro down mid, looking to catch onto Saya here. But Saya, I think he's aware of the tiles push. He is, but can he hit the shot? No, Shifty. 3 on the round and looking for the 4K. Knows where the player is. Gonna try and take this one down, but the K actually misses, bounces off the wall, and that'll be Shifty with a 4K on the round. Beautiful play there.
Yeah, this is feeling a lot like the Shifty show right now. Him just getting this full support from the KO, just being allowed to take whatever fights he wants with the full confidence he's going to win them.
Yeah, really? For sure, and we saw that yesterday as well.
What has happened to Better Than You over these past 2 rounds? They really seem like they were, really doing well those first 2 rounds. It really seemed like they were playing really well. It just seems like something's gone wrong for them here. Something's fallen apart. What can they do here just to try and address this?
Well, they are on the eco now, so it's going to be a tricky round for them no matter what. They should just be trying to do damage, see what they can do. Maybe look for a more aggressive play while you're with the weaker weaponry. But we'll see what they can pull out. As we see an aggressive mid push. Sid right behind Shifty as the Shifty
and he fails the dash.
But lives
I think
anyway.
The Cloud Burst able to save him, and Lottie picking up 2 kills in the background. Eventually, Shifty does go down, but that bought enough time for his team to pick up an additional 3 kills. Now just left down to the Waylay and the ISO. Quantum brings us back into a 2v2 though, popping the double tap to make sure any fight's taken, he has the advantage in, but he's got to recover the spike, and neither of the players are pushing him. His ability's gonna run out before he can get any value from it, and Corpsey, with his aggro reclear, if he expects the player in tiles, this could really spell doom with the spike in the hands of Quantum here. But we'll have to see as both players just dancing around the angle for now. It looks like we're set up for 2 different 1v1s. First one is Corpsey able to take down, and that's the spike dropped. And now, does he expect the player to be wrapping behind? I don't think he heard that drop. He did. He cancels the drone. He's going to swing back. Knife out, but unfortunately, wow, that was an insane shot. Never mind.
Insane shot. Oh my goodness.
That round just came down to well played there. Corpsey managing to win those 2 1v1s. If he loses that, they instantly just rush onto that B site and probably win the round in a 2v1 post plant. So it's great from him just to be able to lock down those 1v1s and take them effectively.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of pressure on Corpsey there, but he manages to deliver, and we've seen that a lot from him throughout these past 2 Apes games now, where he is usually left into that kind of more clutch position, either following up the Jet and trying to secure those rounds, or in those more intense 1v2s, 1v3s. And he's done quite well for himself, especially in that last round. But you see now an aggressive cat push coming down. The operator comes out, and the dash, beautiful for the Shifty to pick up his first kill onto Cuban. Cuban does use the ult to res himself, and now he's under immense pressure from that Waylay, using the Cloud Burst, but unable to refrag, and Cuban picking up that kill is fully back on the team now. And looks like we're down to a 3v4 as another player went down in tree. Quantum pushing aggressively, managed to pick up the first one and get out. I don't know if LeFrog was meant to push up further there, but he definitely should have tried to refrag that one. Unfortunately, it just leaves him and the Cypher into this 2v4 now. They've got the player in hell to contend with, as well as players spread all throughout the sites, and that fragment nade is not going to connect on anything. He throws the knife. He knows there's a player in hell, but I don't think there's much he can do to remove him from that position. And the player generator, Saya, going to make this even more difficult before the 2 players in main even have to get involved. Saya picking up the kill onto Bambi, and now it's just LeFrog taking down. And yeah, that was a pretty textbook round coming out.
Yeah, that's just a clean execute coming out from Better Than. Finally, good to see them getting aggressive again. Even though they are pushing the AWP very aggressively, they still managed to pull it off, even though Shifty did whatever he could, even managing to get 2, as we see another AWP pickup from him, going for that A main, prepared for that aggressive push that's coming out, that could be coming out.
Yeah, it looks like they are grouping up towards this direction, so Shifty could pick up a good first kill here. But you saw last time their strategy was once the jet dash ran out, they just rushed him down, and he wasn't able to pick up the second kill. And without a second proc of that dash, he's just left out stranded for dead. We'll have to see if the Omens is able to kind of rotate over here and help out if that situation does occur again. But for now, looks like the ISO shield will come out to try and force him back. He's going to peek past it. Dash runs out before he can dash, and that will force a cloudburst out. Cuban picking up a kill onto Lottie in Catwalk, and now you see 3 players from Apes have already rotated over here, and the ISO goes wide, so no one will be taken into that extra dimensional. And now Cuban picking up another kill onto Shifty. That will be the site secured, but Respawn not having much of a chance into this one means they'll probably just back off.
Feels like a big issue there was Respawn was just so hyper aware from that cat push that they just left the entirety of site open for 4 members of Better Than just to walk on and get for free. And now they lose 3 for free as well.
Yeah, definitely good pressure put on there from Cuban, and LaFrog able to actually pick up 2, but he gets taken down as well. I don't think there's much chance in this round, even with this kill. We'll see with the Cypher coming out. He is going to try and make a go of this one. Both players standing in main. He knows they're both there, but Saya able to shut him down with a beautiful Phantom 1-tap.
Yeah, we're seeing obviously a very different plays from both teams here. What do we think of the strengths and weaknesses of both teams? What are they doing well? What are they doing wrong? And where should they be focusing most of their attention?
It feels like Respawn should Apes should really just be focused on making sure that they can take these advantageous fights and not getting over pressured. You saw it there. They have one thing happen, and then they instantly just send 3 over to deal with 1 player and leave sites. They need to make sure they're not overcommitting to anything here, and that they're taking good fights.
Yeah, and we talked about it yesterday, how Apes is a very aggressive team, and they do like getting, into the fold and just kind of going as a big 5-stack death ball, but it looks like Bettr is very aware of that and able to kind of bait out specific pushes, force people to group together, and then push a different side of the map. You saw it there. Cuban was just enough on tree, and we'll see it again here, potentially in tree, with the heavy push. 4 players already in here. Looks like Bambi does back up, only having that Sheriff to work with. Knives comes out from Shifty, and that will be the first kill. Yeah. And not able to be shut down, but Tor actually on the flank, not quite able to pick him up. But does put him with no dash in a rough spot. A beautiful shot from Tor coming out.
But Tor is not here, so this is effectively a 4v3 until he's able to make this rotato come over, and will have to push through, but he might get a timing onto this Omen as they're trying to break this door. They have to be aware. Nope, Tor realizes it could happen and just walks all the way back.
Yeah, and that's the overall that is not going to get much value there. They unable to get any pings, I believe. Does force the position to be a bit weird, but Lottie picks up her first kill. Saya and Quantum trading it back, though. Bambi and LaFrog going down, and that'll be Lottie picking up her second kill of the round, though. Can she make anything more happen with the side of his teammate? No, but Lottie able to pick up a third as well, and now it's just 1 player left in this 1v1. It's not planted for him. He can smoke this one and start the defuse, but they do have the Sovereign ready to go, and with 50 HP, that's not going to be able to be dodged for even a single bullet, and you see Lottie will go down. Good to force out the Sovereign there, but definitely a rough retake.
Yeah, that also puts them up 2 at the end there as well, which is really unfortunate. There's not really much once that Sovereign comes out, you get put in that kind of a situation. There isn't really much you can do there, except just try and prevent yourself from getting in that situation to begin with. Is there anything they could have done earlier just to try and avoid that kind of a situation? What do you reckon?
I mean, they just didn't walk into the stack. They just didn't get lucky with the stack walking into them. It's very interesting to see them still leaving mid pretty open, but Tor is not really going for the lurks and trying to abuse the mid here, so it's not a bad play from them as they see 2 players of Apes just try to lock down B right now.
Yeah, and an really early mid here.
A really unfortunate early pick there on Shifty.
Doing a thing.
Yeah, looks like this mid-fight will turn into a push into tree, and Lottie getting tagged very low, but she's able to back up and save her life on that one. Manages to throw out the smoke now just to kind of slow this push down, but it does just basically buy Bettr's time to kind of group up in the stack and now get ready to push out. But for now, looks like they're just able to kind of stall them out. There's a large push coming though, and any second, once this Sova drone comes through and gets some intel, you're likely going to see all of them pop out into this choke, and yeah, here you see it coming in.
Red Buff Cypher gonna need to be huge here, trying to break util, doesn't only one hits the trips, and he just walks away after getting scanned by the dart. That's not what you want to see. Likely have to see a big retake coming in now in the 4v5 from Respawn.
Yeah, and you see they're just waiting for that server to rotate over, and then they'll probably begin this push with the smoke into aim main. That will be a good start, but they have to get out of this heaven area. They're completely condensed in. Only Lottie pushing into tree, and the TP potentially coming up, but instead goes for the fight.
Oh, doesn't even matter. Quantum just there. Cuban just there ready to take the fight.
Yeah, and Cuban just shooting really well. Does eventually go down, but is able to... no, it was a KO ult at the end. Yeah, I thought Cuban came back to life there for a second, but actually no, just the KO ult going down, and that's a very rough round for Respawn to lose, investing the KO ult as well.
Yeah, it feels like that's a round where you want to try to get one before investing the KO ult. Where it can make the difference, you really want to have it on at least an even fight before you try to gain that advantage. As we're seeing a more defaulty playstyle coming up through Bettr, as you can see them just leaving the spike, looking for a pick, then trying to establish a strong position and just rush a site. Very smart, educated, good Valorant coming out from them.
Yeah, and it feels like Apes down by 3 points here. What do they need to do to try and bring this back?
They just need to stop getting that early pick and letting Bettr just take so much map control early. As they try to fight.
Yeah, it looks like a heavy main push coming through. Shifty trying to make something happen, but unable to hit those sheriff shots. Has to back up now. The eco round is going to be a very rough, but on the very least, they have 3 people here to try and hold off this push. But you see immediately, Bettr does what they've been doing, which is force players to group up and then rotate away. You see them picking up the spike now and heading over towards B, and 3 players of Respawn still committed into this A hold. Means that there is nothing here for mid except for Lottie holding a very passive angle. And actually, they've completely left B free now, and with 3 players in lobby, looks like they're going to be able to get the site entirely for free, although LaFrog able to take down Cuban, doesn't elect to pop the ult to bring himself back. But this is going to be a rough round regardless, especially with the ISO ult coming out, kidnapping that player, and see if the kill contract can pay off here. Doesn't look so. Corpsey able to take down another one, and all of a sudden, this round has kind of flipped on its head. Respawn's rotated back over to B to be ready for this push, and if Sire doesn't win this 1v1 against Shifty, they're looking in dire straits. But looks like both players just choosing to back off for now.
This is still very doable. It's all about if Corpsey can figure out what's happening and save this round, because if they get into the post plant, this could be a tricky situation for Respawn. 3v5, they still have to deal with the Sova lurk, who could be coming through, but he's just going main as we see the plant coming down. So that's good money at the very least. That should help secure Bettr a lot of money through these coming rounds. It's going to be hard to break their economy from this point.
Yeah, and you see the Visor coming out, forcing them back down to the sheriffs. I don't know if that's a play when they're already on an eco round. These are better pistols than they normally will have, but we'll have to see. With Sai pinging out that player, gets spammed down and taken out, but Shifty able to trade it back, being beautiful this round with those sheriff shots. Sai now isolated from his teammate, but able to do the backstab, but Shifty with another one this round, and now LaFrog able to pick up that fighter kill with the recovered Vandal, and that all of a sudden, that round went from very rough to very good on the side of Apes.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Vice ult investment. They're really just trying to stall out that round, but then they were very quick to try to take those aggressive fights. They need to either completely fall back and stall out after investing that Vice ultimate, or they need to go and try to get a pick and then anchor down. But they didn't really pick either, and then we're just stuck in a tricky position.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, I mean, you saw a really good initial play coming out when they got onto that B side. They threw out the Saturate to stun, I believe it's Corpsey out of his drone, and then also threw out the Razor Wire so he couldn't even then swing off any contact that he did see. So that was really good for getting them onto the site, but then, yeah, you just saw it completely fell apart the second they got onto the site, and you've got to give credit to Shifty there. Really good sheriff shots to kind of close out that round.
Yeah, it's always good to see Eco being converted, but it's also just on Bettr than... They're getting aggressive early, they're doing everything right, but then they're just not confident in themselves, and they're just falling into this complete default style that's not always working out for them as they pick up the pick on Shifty and ready for this big A execute. We see the Waylay dashing in and getting the play and deciding to back out.
Yeah, that was an interesting play, using that recall to bring her back out into main. It looks like now they're rotating over. I guess the plan was to tap the spike to bait them into a more secure hold, but now it seems like they're just walking into this full Cypher setup with Sova on site, and I don't think this is the play. I think they tried to outread them here, but Apes has just read this play completely and now shut them down. With one player already going down, now 4 players grouped up in main. They're going to have to just try and swing this one out. They do use the decay to stop the market and saturate to stop the CT push, but looks like they actually are able to pick up that kill onto the Cypher, even though they hit his trip. Sid picking up another one onto Lottie as well, and now it's all on Corpsey on site, and this backstab from the KO to try and make something happen here. Shock Dart comes out and lands onto Corpsey as well, chipping down his health, and he's got a lot of players to take care of, and they are just waiting for him. They're trying to clear every angle slowly, carefully, methodically, and Sid takes him down. Lifrog able to pick one back up, but he's in a 3v1. He's not expecting the late heaven push from Cuban, and Cuban able to just take that one down.
I think Lifrog needs to look for a little bit more there than just the one pick. He needs to walk on a site, look for 2 minimum before he can go for anything. Because you're in that 1v4 there, and as soon as you get that first kill, you've given away your position. They had no clue about the lurk. But it's also, I think, better than need to really stop overthinking this game. Their IGL is obviously just trying to play chess, and what they've done is play a great game of checkers, just rushing sites, being effective. They had got onto site, saw nothing, were getting the bomb down, and then just decided they didn't want it.
So what would you recommend that they do going into these next few rounds, obviously to try and not overcomplicate it?
I think they just need to be confident in what they're doing. They have an ultimate advantage this round, so even though it's even guns, just be confident, use the ultimates you have, go for the exec. Don't get all this BA main control, everything, and then just give it up.
Yeah, and I mean, you're definitely seeing confidence out of Sid there, picking up 2 in mid. They did trade one back, but the Clover was used to bring him back. Cuban able to, I believe, pick up a kill, but then got traded back as well. So now it's down to that 4v3 post plant. You see all 4 players so far playing on site, and we'll have to see if Apes can make any kind of coherent push here. The Razor Wire will slow them down, means they can't push this one out, and you're going to see that Waylay holding this ulti up. This could be devastating if they can actually capitalize off this. Gonna push it out, but actually the ult came out too slowly. Bambi able to dodge it and pick up the kill onto Quantum. Stuck in the corner now. The Cypher ult does reveal their positions, but not enough for Tor to not be able to take Bambi back down. And now Corpsey going down as well means it's just left to Lottie. 1v3. Can she make anything happen? I don't think she'll be able to.
Kills.
A beautiful play from Tor.
Absolutely crazy. 3 kills that round is absolutely insane plays by Tor. Brilliantly played.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be the half.
Effective on taking those efficient rounds. But everything can change on this pistol. But it is going to be tricky because we're not seeing this double sentinel like we did to them the first comp team select. They're bound to just having this Vice, who, while does having some stopping power, doesn't provide as much intel as the Cypher does.
Yeah, we're also seeing Apes slowly lose this game as well, as slowly slipping through their hands. You know, what do they need to do? How should they approach this? Obviously, we've seen them go down. It kind of just seems that it's come down to just the small plays that have happened in between. What can they do?
It feels like the IGLing has been on point for Apes. It feels like they're 1 or 2 shots away from getting what they need. They just need a little bit more confidence. They just need to hit 1 or 2 more shots.
Yeah, that'll immediately start here with Shifty taking down the first kill onto Sid. Saya now has a lot to do to hold off this push. Shock Dart's good to split up the team and stall them out, but can he make anything else happen? Second shock comes out. Unfortunately, nothing connecting on that one, and now he has to hold off this push with the help of Tor. Tor going to be the first point of contact here, and looks like for now, he's just sitting back, waiting for this swing out, and looks like they've actually got a bit of a pause in the round.
He is waiting for this Jet to dash up, trying to get aggressive onto him.
Yeah, and you see actually
being broken.
Yeah, they tripped the wall on B, which is actually going to call a rotate over from the ISO. But now, I think they realized that with Shifty taking Tor down, that this actually was a bit of a fake. And you'll see ISO here just slowing down. He's waiting for that lurk play. But for now, it looks like they actually are pivoting entirely to B. Here. Yeah, Bambi calls out the site's clear and is going to push back, but there actually has been a player rotate back to heaven. This is going to come down to Bambi and Quantum. Who gets this fight here? Looks like Bambi able to take it down. Sheriff shots not ringing true, and that will be the site completely open for the side of Apes, and they'll be able to get the fight.
Once again, gets another one on this great lurk, finding the timing, finding the space. Gets taken down, but it's a very hard 1v3, even for the Clove.
Yeah, unfortunately, caught spraying the door.
Unfortunate by Bambi there. Nearly got a 3k there, which would have been absolutely crazy for him. Just unfortunately missed that shot at the end there.
Yeah, and I think that's something you're going to see out of Apes that we've seen out of a lot of other Cypher players throughout this tournament, and finally we can actually see now coming out from them, given that their last map they played was Icebox, is this idea of the Cypher being on the lurk, being that backstab. You saw him finding brilliant timings to manage to catch out both players that had rotated over early and just give his team the entire site.
We've also seen a lot throughout this game that it just seems like sometimes the difference between the two teams just comes down to the mechanical skill. It just seems like maybe they're just not in the headspace to just hit these shots today. Who knows? Maybe we'll see them warm up over time.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to see an early push here in A main. Looks like both teams are able to dash back and just kind of disengage that one, but we've seen this a lot throughout both sides. Is a heavy push.
To pick on Bambi here. I'm pretty sure Bambi is not aware and ready. Nobody hears him and out lurks.
Yeah, and that's just going to be a brilliant spray down from the side of Bambi just to take that kill down. This is their eco, so you do have to go for risks, but I mean, I guess they're just not expecting players to be tiles there, and why would you when you've got so many players grouped up in A main? Having that tiles lurk is very just kind of out of the blue, and around where you have such a gun advantage, you'd expect them to be grouped up a lot more.
We see the defaulting coming out again from Apes here, though. But with no mid control, Cuban very easily able to hold this with the Bucky he picked up, the one aggressive buy coming out from this team. It's interesting to see them going back to this B site. Tor is going to have to make that decision soon of what he's going to do, and hopefully he makes the right call, as Cuban deciding to just get bored, I guess, and peek out, and unfortunately goes down.
Yeah, not exactly a good timing, especially when you got that Bucky in hand, but they have tripped the wall, so they will be aware this is a B push now. Silverdrone comes out and does hit the tag onto Tor. He's not going to be able to hide, and he might actually get a second tag off on him as well. Looks like he didn't, and Tor actually able to pick up the first kill to LaFrog. Sid taking another one down, and with 10 seconds left on the clock, this is looking rough as Tor picks up his second as well. Bambi taking down a third before he went, but looks like, unfortunately, with 3 seconds left, they're not able to win this round, and yeah, that was just way too slow of a round from Respawn, I think.
Yeah, that's just them overthinking it, overcomplicating it. I guess they're worried about the Buckies and the armored defense by rushing through A main, but they just need that extra little bit of confidence. They got the picks, and they still just weren't ready in a position to emphasize off that picks, even off some great picks coming out from Bambi.
We will also credit where credit is due. Tor, despite being scanned twice and also being backed into that corner there, he did not go down quietly. He did manage to take 2 with him, which was quite an impressive play to considering the situation that he found himself in.
Yeah, that is what you want from your Sentinels nowadays. Just complete aim demons who can just 1v9 on the site with the minimal util that Vice is providing. That's where we're seeing great players like Meteor and Leaf just being able to just dominate so much with their aim in locking down these sites.
Yeah, definitely. And for now, seeing yet another pretty slow round coming out from Bettr, just grouping up back onto this A main push. Oh, sorry, from Apes, grouping up onto this A main push and trying to make something happen here.
I just think they really just don't want to be the people to get the first pick on. They really don't want to be picked off first. They want to make sure that they've got all 5 of them up and ready just in case. You don't want to be down 1 when it comes to, trying to attack on this map.
Yeah, definitely. And now you're just seeing them group up into the smoke. There's a Karanaf will come out. Luckily, Sid able to dodge it, but they would have heard the footsteps. They know there's a player here, but this Outlaw is going to be brutal to swing into. Misses the first shot, but unfortunately for LaFrog, unable to near his way past that second shot and will get taken down. Now it seems like an aggro A main push coming out here. The drone will tag up to side.
Drones need to be popped. Drones are popped. It's just...
I think it was a bit too late though. The jet dash had already come through, and Shifty able to pick up the first kill onto Sid the Kid. Now having a gun recovered and another one picked up, looks like that Outlaw will be back in the hands of the side of Respawn as they're coming into this one, trying to make something happen. But Saya with a beautiful tag on the dart takes one down. Shock dart to kill the second one.
Oh my god, Saya!
Utility there, and Tor able to pick up one on the backstab. One player left, just Lottie, and she goes down as well.
Oh.
Beautiful, almost flawless retake there, coming out from the side of Bettr.
2 fantastic plays from Tor and Saya there. Absolutely phenomenal players.
Yeah, Saya's really just showing a sort of a masterclass in that round with the tag from the dart, unable to be broken, taking him down, and then using the shock dart to pick up a second kill.
Really just anchoring on Sova from heaven. Great job seeing it coming out from him, but we are seeing the full buy. It's interesting to see the Outlaw not picked up, aware of the buy. Oh, actually, no, Sid... The Kid is going for that Outlaw. No, he's just considering it. It'd be so good here. It'd be so good.
They
Oh, we're also seeing a
specifically
timeout
to ask
here.
about the timeout, about the Outlaw, but yeah, I mean, yeah, because you were seeing 4 or 2 regen shells and 2 half armors on that side, so yeah, that Outlaw would have one shot to the body 4 of the players on that team, which would have been an insane pickup. Looks like Sid's not confident enough to go for that, but we'll have to see after this timeout. He was debating between the 2 guns. He might pick it up. What do you think they're talking about right now in terms of this timeout from the attackers?
They're probably working on their execute plans, trying to figure out what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right. They're taking a lot of time, timing out. And they're also the Thorns, they're just stopping everyone else from getting on that site for free is interesting. Really slowed down that execute, left him alone. If the Jet had gone picked there, they might have even just left the site. But they really just need to figure out what their plan is earlier and then commit to it. They just keep being a little too wishy-washy on what they want to do. not quite able to get it done.
And
Yeah, for
obviously
sure.
with this game slowly running away from them being 5 rounds down, it's not going to be good for them. What should they look to do over these five rounds? Do you reckon? Like, what should they aim to do each round to remain consistent in winning these rounds?
I think it just starts with one. You just got to get like one successful rush off, get one plan going, starting to get into the head of the other IGL. As Sid the Kid
Yeah,
goes for the
unfortunately-
outline, gets that early pick.
Yeah, did end up trading that weapon back, takes down Shifty as well. Now it looks like he might be overheating here. We'll have to see if he can make anything happen. Does have the snapback if he needs to get back out, but will unfortunately not be able to pick up the shot. Beautiful headshot coming out from Lottie, able to take that one down. And now Tor and Cuban have to try and hold this mid push off, but LaFrog has already inserted himself deep. He's got 2 players up mid, but Cuban able to take down Lottie. That will leave LaFrog entirely alone in this corner. He pops the flash, unable to make anything happen though off it, and Decay will make this fight hard. One shot to the body would take him down, but he stalled him out enough with those flashes. Picks up the first kill, but unfortunately gets traded back. Tor able to pick him down, and now just a 1v2 left over. Corpsey able to do a heavy damage here. Can he make the shock darts work? Can't, but he does have the classic out because of the steel garden. Takes down the first one. Does he know that Sai has wrapped around? If he does, he can rotate out, but I'm not sure. He looks like he's aware that a market push might be coming from this side. Still has the classic out and actually switches to the Vandal. Takes down his third. Corpsey, beautiful clutch.
We saw excellent aim from Corsi there. 2 fantastic kills. One after the other, and he was down in health too. He was not in a favorable position to win that 1v1 there. Despite that, still pulled through and managed to win that. Impressive.
Feels like just a little bit of an overheat coming out there from Tor, willing to get aggressive and go for that 1v1 after the utils pop, but you really should just be trying to regroup there, make sure it's a 2v1 always, even if it does come down to a post-plant situation. It's also just unlucky there from Sid, managing to hit the only player with full armor with a shield.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Sid's got to continue. Only has the Marshal in there this time, but it's good for the kill onto Shifty. I believe it was a collat as well, so it will take LaFrog down quite low. They're very lucky that that wasn't a Marshal and Operator, an Aloran Operator, because that would have been a double kill for him. But Cuban now has to hold off this mid aggression.
It's going to be interesting if we see an adjustment from Shifty coming out there, since he's just clearly not winning this aim duel, which could only get worse if an Operator starts to come through in these upcoming rounds.
Yeah, definitely. And the tag onto Sid the Kid will help. He goes for the pre-fire with the Marshal, but unable to make anything happen. Uses the snapback to get out of the way. And now he'll have to hold off this tree push. But with that smoke coming out, that's going to make it very difficult. Goes aggressive with the shorty. Can he make anything happen into these 3 players? Has a teammate by his side, but the shock dart is going to be good. Tags both players down. They're expecting this push still. And one shot does ring out, but not enough as Corpsey takes him down. See a backstab coming out from Cuban though. And now with the spike going down, door hasn't been closed, so there will be an early refight onto this one from Bettr, and they do have the man advantage, which means as long as Tor and Cuban can make something happen here, they looks like they're in a pretty good position. Saya picking up another kill as well. And with that, unfortunately, not strong enough, and that will be 11 rounds, 2 away from taking the victory. Of course, they do already have the point, but this has been a really exciting match, especially to watch Bettr play.
I will say, despite despite the way that this game is going, we have been seeing excellent, consistent shots recently from Corsi. Really, as I mentioned earlier, it really just seemed like the difference between them in those earlier matches was kind of just mechanics. But we're definitely seeing Corsi really just wake up here. He is hitting phenomenal shots. Did manage to get 2 kills that last round as well. So. I hope he continues to do this into these next few rounds, and we can really just see them try and work better together to try and pull through here. Yeah.
Interesting to see the adjustment. Full heavy armor on 4 members coming up even on this eco with sheriffs. Not trying to get outlawed.
Yeah, and they also move away from that mid pressure. They've been applying that almost every round and dying to Sid almost every round. So now the heavy A main pressure, but Saya's going to swing out into this one. Can he find anything? Oh, just flicks away from the first player a little too early, and that'll be an early Cypher ult to give themselves info. They know there's only one player on the side now, and you're going to see an aggressive push once these razor wires go down. And yep, Jet out onto the site now. The rest of the team going to be scaling out behind him now. Smoke's coming down to just reinforce his site, but to be fair, Bettr are already here. Sid picks up 1 kill onto Lottie. That's the Omen going down. But with the spike plant getting down, they at least have that post-plant situation and that extra money in their pockets. Looks like they're able to swing out. Shifty picks up 1, but Cuban able to res himself. Tor taking 1 down as well, but a team kill actually. Frog going down to Corpsey's server ult, and now left in this situation alone. Takes on the first. It's going to have to be the Terminator here, just tearing through people, but Sid shuts him down. Double barrel shotgun to the face. And that is going to be 12 now.
It was
And
looking
that's as good as
really
it
good for
gets on the
Corsi
eco.
there.
You don't get a better eco round with them donating you a gun, you having the jet knives available after that, and the Cypher ult to get all the information and plays you want. If you can't convert that eco, it's really not going to get a lot better for you in any circumstances.
Yeah, it was really looking good for Corsi as well there. We saw 2 really good plays back to back by Corsi there. I was really rooting for him at the end there, not gonna lie. Just unfortunate to see it just not be able to pay off after he got flashed.
Yeah, and it did look for a while like he might have had something going there, but unfortunately just not able to find the second, let alone the third player. And now we're seeing Sidlikid on the exact same angle he's been, and LaFrog might walk straight into this one. He's got the Outlaw, and I believe LaFrog has light armor in this, so has the Sheriff out. Can he make anything happen? Unfortunate timing. Looks away just as he swings, and swings into Lottie instead. Lottie able to take Sid down to 5 HP. That's going to be rough now, but that Outlaw only needs 1 shot to kill a lot of these players. Oh, but speaking of one shot, LaFrog, beautiful play onto Cuban, able to take him down with a clean, just bullet straight through the forehead.
This does leave them in a good position too. Having 1 player down on HP and them being down 1 player leaves them in a favorable position. We'll see if they're able to take advantage of this though.
Looks like they're just getting ready. Oh, Sid the Kid picking up that pick, getting ready to get aggressive, even 5 HP. It's more than nothing, so he's willing to do whatever it takes to try to get them this round as they're setting up for this retake position.
Yeah, and once again, just not a comfortable post plan here. You see players around them on all sides. They only can play up to that main position. At least they get players out that way this time, which should at least separate out their defense a bit. But you're going to see another retake, and they've been so good at this one on the side of Bettr. So they have to try and adjust something, try and make something happen here as the players in heaven are just waiting for those 3 players to get into position before they all burst onto the site. And you see Quantum picking up the first kill onto Shifty. That's immediately the tip of their spear going down as they're able to take full control of the side. Playing Hell 2 in main. These are good positions to be playing. LaFrog able to pick up 1 from that Hell position, but Quantum is 3rd on the round, and Sid picks up his 2nd to guarantee this win. Bettr had already gotten the point, but they've proven it now. They are better than Apes.
Yeah, just a lot of mechanical differences coming out, not being quite able to adjust to this Outlaw that was just wrecking them round after round as soon as Bettr came onto this defense. Just effective and clean gameplay coming out from Sid, who manages to top frag for the team.
Yeah, it was just really a rough game there. It just seemed like slowly but surely, the game was just slipping away from them. Slowly, bit by bit, it was going over to Better Than You, and just Apes just slowly losing grip on the game, and unfortunately, it resulted in a 6-13 loss. Still, despite that, we saw fantastic plays from both teams as well. It just seems, unfortunately, that Better Than You was simply staying true to their name, and today they just simply were better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it was a really exciting match. I'm glad we still played it out. Obviously, some unfortunate situations with a player showing up late means they did have to forfeit, but I think you did still see that Better Than You has a way to kind of contain that Apes aggression that we were talking about yesterday, where a lot of the time on that, especially on the attack, they were able to kind of just hang back, let them push into them, get that early pick, and then on defense, I mean, you saw they just kept going into tiles, and Sid just kept taking them down, and Apes just unable to really get that coordinated multi-man swing with utility that we were seeing on Icebox. Just getting taken down a lot by that, single outlaw shot, that single marshal shot.
And obviously, once momentum starts being built by the other team, it can be often very difficult to try and stop that. Just like the moment that you start gaining momentum is the moment that you start getting into a groove, and just stopping that groove can be really, really difficult. And I think a lot of people underestimate that the strength that comes from having momentum. And it's just really unfortunate that we just saw, game after game, we just saw Better Than You really just like pulling it together and making some really well done plays. But honestly, what do we think of like that game? Was there like what were the highlights? Do you reckon? What were some really good plays? What were some really bad plays? And what do we think about the whole game?
Oh, just a lot of good Sova clutches coming up round after round, big plays every time, impactful kills. Them really just being huge in the game, but not being the key forces behind the teams.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you just saw a lot of really good maintaining of the aggression. I think that was my favorite part of that, was just seeing how Bettr was reacting around those. You did see a couple of rounds that were a bit too slow pushing into that one, but really just watching the patience there and watching them push in, I think we can clearly see why this team is looking and fighting for that top position. And I believe with this win, it really depends on the Apes versus Swing or Be Swung game to determine top seed. Because currently, Better Than You are sitting at 4-1. Either Swing or Be Swung or Apes will be joining them. Unless Apes lose to Chimps, then we're seeing that Better will be fully clutched up, but they're definitely in that top spot. So, and I think this match, especially given that we weren't really sure about that comp, if it was a bit of a, having fun comp, given they knew they had already won the match, they seem to still be showing a really good function. And I think the comp worked really well with their strategies.
And it's really good to see that Better Than You has been able to, secure that place in the semifinals. So we will be seeing them again. So it'll be good for that. Apes, obviously, they've got quite a few more games to play throughout, this week. So hopefully they can, have a takeaway from this game. They can, try and band together, try and see this is our mistakes, and then we'll see them again in 2 more days' time.
So Apes playing on that Wednesday.
Game.
Yeah,
it is
Apes
also
playing on the
going to be
Wednesday.
big for tomorrow's game. Chimps now, I believe, should have the opportunity, if they're able to take down Apes, and the Apes lose to Swing or Be Swung, they could just not make it into this top 4. It's really allowing Chimps to put their lives into their own hands, see if they can step up again like they did last night, and really make it through, get the Cinderella story run coming through from one of the weaker teams in the event.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
With
Unfortunately,
being on the line, there is a lot of pressure on them to try and win that game as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we won't be seeing that game on stream, but stay tuned on Wednesday. We will be seeing Apes versus Swing or Be Swung, and given how that Chimps game goes, that could be potentially Apes fighting for their chance to get into playoffs, which would be a massive upset if they didn't make it. But I'd like to thank you guys all for watching the stream. Of course, shout out to Littles once again for sponsoring this event, and just reminding everyone, LAN tickets are available. Please go pick them up. If you're a Respawn, like a member of the Respawn Club, you get them for free. And then that'll be on the 26th, which is next Thursday, I believe. So, thanks everyone for tuning in.
And also a final thank you to Littles for sponsoring us as well. It's always appreciated. To anyone who is buying the tickets again, it would be very much appreciated if you were to buy them. You don't have to; they are free if you join the Respawn. But despite that, it would be seriously appreciated. We could use all the money we can get.
Yeah, because
even if you can't make it, if you just sign up an event, put down any email. Ticket sales matter for us getting more funding, please.
And obviously the more funding we get, the more tournaments we get. But for now, I think that's us done. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on Wednesday.